Okay. Hello, everybody. I am so excited to have my past client. She's not a client anymore, even though I always tell everybody, and Hilary, I know I've told you this, is that once you're my client, you're always my client. Like you can always come back and talk to me about anything, like no problem. But Hilary, let's see, when did we wrap up coaching? Like
February?
February. That sounds about right. Like February, January area, we wrapped up coaching. And I waited too long to check in, but usually I like to check in with past clients. It's getting harder as my client list is growing. But I checked in with Hilary and she's like, I'm doing great. And so I wanted to know more about all that was going on with her. And I'm like, why not have her come on, share a little bit about her journey through coaching a little bit, just a short little tidbit about that, and then what has happened afterwards. So I'm going to try to save my voice. I've been sick. So Hilary, why don't you tell a little bit about just a little overview of your journey through coaching and kind of where you were at the end of our time together in that January, February time.
Okay. So in the beginning, I did the group coaching. And at that point, I was just back at a place in my life where I was tired of my body, just disappointed in myself for not sticking to a plan or sticking to exercise. And I was really going through a period of spiritual growth. God was really working on me, and I was struggling really hard with depression as well. So exercise was like my medication. I did it because I needed to. And I stumbled upon Amanda's group and I joined. I did the free 7-day, and then I joined the coaching group reluctantly because I'm a do-it-yourselfer kind of person.
I want to point this out. Like you were super reluctant.
Yeah.
One of your call that I had with you about the group program is one that will always stick out in my mind, because when we were done, I'm like, yeah, she wasn't, I don't think she was sold that God was leading her to this. I think she's probably going to be a no. And when you said to like message me the next day and like I'm in, I'm like, what? That is awesome.
See, just goes to show you that God was doing his thing.
Yes.
Because I thought, okay, good. Like my husband is going to be like, what? You're going to pay money to do this? And he was like, whatever you need. And I'm like, cool. Okay.
Shoot.
So I went into that reluctantly, but I could hear God really telling me, like, you haven't been doing it good by yourself. So like, let's try a different way. And I was really committed to doing it fully. So I talked on camera. I, volunteered. I didn't just kind of shy away and stay in the background. And I hated every second of it in the beginning doing that. But I said, I signed up for this for a reason, and I'm going to be there. And it was a great experience. It was exactly what I needed. I needed to be surrounded by a group of women who were going through the same thing. I needed it to not just be focused on my body and my looks and my size. And, I needed it to be based in the spiritual, because my real desire was to learn how to love myself the way that God made me, and not be so focused on what the world wants from me, but be comfortable in my skin. So we did the group thing and I was still struggling and felt like I needed to, continue on. So I signed up for the one-on-one, and it was again just a time that I really I needed connection with someone I could trust and who was going to tell me the truth, because all of the mindset work that we did in the group, which was focused on, weight loss and loving ourselves, it was all things that I could apply to all areas of my life, and especially relationship, which, we all know weight loss and relationship go hand in hand, because anytime we're with other people, food's usually involved. And
Yep.
people always want to know, why won't you eat that? Come on, it's just a little bit. It's not that big, so like, but anyways, I was going through a stormy period with my oldest teenage son. And Amanda really helped me through that and be able to see some different ways that I could deal with that. So while we continued to do the weight loss work and the mindset work, that really helped with him. And so anyways, through that, towards the end, when we finished up, I was just in a place where I really just needed to do the stuff. I needed time to actually implement and do it consistently for a period of time and see what other work might need to be done. But at that point, there wasn't really any further we could go. I just had to do it.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like at that point, you like had the tools and you were starting.
I had lost the weight that I'd hoped that I would. And, so.
Yeah. So then it was just like, okay, I have the tools.
Yeah.
And not only do I have the tools, but I've been using them for a while now. Now I'm going to go see how I'm going to use these tools on my own, not with somebody just walking alongside me. Am I equipped to like fully be accountable to myself?
Right.
And a couple things I want to point out that you talked about here is that one, when you were in the group program, you made a decision that I'm going to be in this fully.
Yeah.
I'm going to be seen. This is a safe space.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get what I came for. And that's exactly what you did. You got what you came for. Like,
right.
So many people think that it's the program that is going to get them the results. It's not.
No.
I wish it was. Otherwise, I just like hand this program out for free and just be like, here's the result. But it doesn't work that way. You have to decide you're going to get what you come for.
Right. And
then two, you just knew that you had these tools that worked in weight loss. You knew that they could be applied elsewhere. And so that was what the private coaching really was, is like, I'm going to take these tools that I know and I'm going to have Amanda help me figure out how to apply these now into other areas of my life. Yeah. And so when we finished coaching, the relationship with your oldest son was still hairy.
Yes.
But how you were approaching it, you felt stronger.
I was handling it better. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. And you had lost the weight. You were being more consistent in that. But the biggest thing was just really letting go of that scale, like making that define, like losing more weight wasn't necessarily going to make you happier at that point. Right. It was, I got to learn how to just be happy in the skin that I'm in and sit in that, not look for some outside validation to make me feel good. Right.
Right.
So now tell everybody, like, I'm really excited about this piece. Like, tell everybody about kind of what's happened now over the last over 6 months now.
So, the way I was handling my son before, basically I took everything personal and, that all worked itself out. I totally surrendered to God and just prayed what I wanted for him. but also with a heart of willingness to accept whatever God wanted for him. So
Yeah.
that worked out, and he's in such a better place now. I can't even believe how far he's come in the last 6 months.
Let me stop you there. I want to ask you a question. Okay.
Yes.
Because how you thought it should go and how it should go in his life, is that how it played out?
It is. It is. But God also put it on my heart that I could not, I couldn't suggest how I thought it should go. I couldn't, even though to me it was encouragement, or, he had to come to this decision all on his own, because if it went awry, I was going to be his scapegoat, and it was all going to be blamed on me. It's my fault. You told me to do that, and so God really laid it on my heart that you have to let him decide, and you have to let however it plays out, play out, so he can take full responsibility.
And
it
so
did end up,
one more
ahead.
question, like tell people what you mean by surrender. Like, what did surrender look like?
I had to just take a step back from him and not offer any advice or try to be helpful in any way. Because anytime I was doing that, it was taken in a threatening way. And it was just exacerbating whatever he was going through. So instead of being helpful to him, it just caused him more stress, or put more pressure on him. I think he felt like,
yeah, well, and
up to something.
You were doing it for you. You were being helpful because that's what you thought you should do, and then you felt good about yourself about being helpful, but he didn't see it that way.
No, I mean, I guess I was doing it for me. I mean, it felt like he was just kind of floundering, and like, no mom wants to watch their kid go through that, so, but trying to be helpful, it didn't help him.
You were doing it for him too. No, like, let's be honest. You were a really loving mom and you wanted the best for him.
Yeah.
But you were
But
also just doing it for you
too.
after you, after you saw that how you approached it wasn't working and you were still doing it. Then it's when you're just doing it for yourself, not just doing it for yourself, but when you were starting to do it for yourself, not for him. Right.
Yeah. And, I was having a hard time letting go of certain things. This was, like the transition between being their mom all the time and, letting them kind of stretch their legs and figure out what kind of person they want to be. And, there's some clashing there, some disrespect, some, disobedient, and nothing big, not like drinking and drugs and that kind of stuff. But I just had that, you're going to respect me in my house kind of, and I really just had to let go of that and just let it go. Like, if he was disrespectful, don't even get into it with him about that, because it never turned out the way that I wanted it to, and it always ended up being worse.
Yeah, it's almost like, yes, there probably was a piece of disrespect in there.
Yeah.
But you getting into it with him was just disrespecting him and yourself more. And it wasn't actually creating any respect for the situation.
It wasn't solving anything.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So.
Exactly. Yeah, I love that. So that's a little bit about your oldest son. What else has been going on in the last 6 months?
Well, that was the bad stuff. The good stuff about him was he quit school, which I hate to say quit. He withdrew from high school, but he completed his GED within 2 months' time.
Oh, that's so
He
awesome.
worked for my husband and myself. We own a trucking and excavating business for the summer, which gave him time to get some skills in the equipment. And my husband got caught up on all the work he was behind on from last year.
So good.
While he waited for his job to come through, which he's now a union. He's part of the operators union, and he's just a full-fledged
Yeah.
workforce guy now. So
Yeah, he's doing his thing that he really wanted to do all along.
yeah, I planned a whole graduation ceremony for him, got him a cap and a gown. I got a keynote speaker for him, somebody who was special to him and knew him really well.
Yeah,
And we did the whole thing. So
I love it. I
it
love
was
it.
great.
And he just
So we
sounds
got
like
to
he's
celebrate.
thriving now.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, he's driving. He's actually going to be taking his permit test to get his commercial driver's license in the next couple of weeks. And my younger son, who is a completely opposite of my older son, he's very driven, motivated. He knows exactly what he wants. He's got, he has an end goal and he has all the steps set up. I do not even know where he learned how to do this, but
Who knows? It's totally God-given.
he has the steps he's going to go through to get there. And he's at the vocational school doing the plumbing shop, and
Yep.
he loves it. He went to Skills USA, or the first portion of it, as a sophomore, which I guess is unheard of. Sophomores don't even usually sit for the test for that, and won second place.
Oh,
So I imagine he'll be going back this year, and he might even actually get to nationals this time around. So
awesome.
yeah,
That's so fun.
so
Yeah.
he has his permit. He'll be getting his license in November. I'm gonna have 2 driving kids and a empty house.
It's a whole new season of life, right?
Yes.
Like each season brings its own challenges. So
Yes.
actually, let's talk about that a little bit, because each
Yeah.
season does bring its own challenges. How are you feeling? Like, how do you think how you showed up and took care of yourself and like figured out these tools for yourself to handle your emotions and all of this has equated to like helping your kids out, helping your husband out, and just helping you make these transitions?
It's touched every piece of it, really, because I mean, the depression was really, that was like swallowing me whole.
Mhm.
And so I have not had really a major bout of that since the beginning. I mean, in the beginning, I did fluctuate in and out a little bit, but nothing really despairing, or where I just never wanted to get off the couch or anything like that. And I feel like I can recognize that. Like sometimes I feel like it's lurking around the corner, but I can pinpoint that now and say, this is Satan attacking me. Like I'm getting vulnerable. I need to ramp up, and I do the things. I'm a child of God. I'm made in his image. I'm a work in progress. I'm a champion. I've already won. Like,
You're a conqueror.
all
Yep.
the things. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I'm better equipped to stave that off. And I'm like actually wearing and using my armor appropriately now.
Love that.
Instead of just a helmet or just a shoe, or
Love it. The full armor every day, right?
Yeah. So it's still hard, because I can see some of the things that Roscoe goes through or was going through is a spiritual battle for him, and I can't fight that battle for him. And so being able to surrender that stuff and just remember that God loves him more than I do and created him for a specific purpose. Praying for him is really the best thing I can do. And it's really what brings me the most peace, is to pray for them when they're struggling or going through something. And I find that the quieter I am with them, the more they come to me.
Mm.
So I get my opportunity to, talk them through stuff. And my younger son, he had his first girlfriend last year, and I wasn't thrilled about her. I mean, she was a nice girl, but it wasn't a good pair. She was very meek and mild and quiet and shy, and he's just big and loud and social, and and he was kind of dulling himself down a little bit for her, and I didn't love that. But it ended before the beginning of the summer, and I quietly had my little celebration.
Yep.
But we had a few talks over the summer, and I said, what did you learn from this that you don't want to repeat in another one? And I said, take it slow, and you don't have to rush into finding another girlfriend. And he agreed to do a little Bible study with me about dating, and not like a, okay, mommy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that. So just praise the Lord that he is open to that kind of thing. And I'm so grateful to be able to talk about that kind of stuff with him, whereas Roscoe never wanted to talk about any of that stuff.
Yeah, and that's so true. Like, we have to parent our kids, each of them so individually. Like, they just, and that's the hard part too, because it's like, we like parent one and we're like, okay, I did an okay job, now I can do about the same. No, it's a whole do something different. They need different things from us, for sure.
So
and
the other thing that this is really helping me, because whereas the transition from parenting Roscoe to kind of more parenting on the sidelines and letting him take the lead, that was a hard transition for me, figuring out where the balance was there. But I feel like there are times when they're both gone doing something, they're at work or hanging with their friends or whatever, and I think, oh man, like, this is what it's going to be like, how am I gonna, there's going to be no chaos, there's going to be no noise, nobody's going to come busting through the door, like, and I get a little down. But then I think, well, but that's exciting, that that's a whole new part of life for me, being an empty nester. And so I've been trying to do things to not be as available for them, and be doing more things that I like to do, or be gone more, so that when that time comes, I'm not like, what am I going to do now? So I'm building back up my interests, and kind of, taking myself out of just mom.
I love that. Exploring yourself. Yes, you have one identity as mom.
Yes.
But you are multifaceted, and you are unique, and figuring out who that person is again. Like, it was a beautiful thing to put a lot of emphasis on mom when the kids were right there. And now it's a beautiful thing that you get to fully explore all that God has in store for you next.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I love that.
So I'm taking advantage of the time that they're still here, but don't really need me all the time, to kind of figure out what my groove's going to be later on.
I love that. You got that.
Yes.
There's just there, and that is, it's going to be fun. And I would say that's that age group is like my favorite to coach, because I think our identity has been wrapped up in being mom for so long. And now we finally realize, oh, I have a little time to myself. And now, how do I really want to take care of myself? I don't even know how to take care of myself exactly.
Exactly. So you don't even know what you like to do anymore. Like, I
Mhm.
don't,
Yeah.
because everything is associated with the kids and the family. Like, well, I like to have movie night with the kids. I like to,
Yeah.
go roller skating. I like to,
I
so
like
it's
to go
like,
on hikes with the kids. I like to do all this stuff with the kids. Now what do? I don't know what I like. Yep.
right, right.
Yeah, I love
So,
that.
but I'm
Yeah.
excited about that. So,
Okay. So to wrap this up, what are some tools and some things that has really helped you, one, like stay accountable to yourself? Because not only did you lose weight, now you've maintained it, right?
yep.
And so like stay accountable to yourself. And what are some, what are some tools you're still using?
So, don't get me wrong. I'm not like perfect all the time.
None of us are.
That's right. So one of the other things that I really desired out of this was being able to balance healthy with not healthy. And I know like we don't like to do good and bad, but the scale thing was huge for me because I mean, I successfully lost weight prior to and kept it off by using numbers. And so for me, it was an obsession, really. It was not healthy at all. I mean, my body was healthy. I was a healthy person, but mentally, that was not a healthy way for me to do it because my worth solely, it was on those numbers. It had to be the right size of pants. It had to be the right number on the scale, the measuring tape, whatever it was, or how long I could exercise or blah, blah, blah. So goal setting is huge. That was huge. Because I feel like that was the first step in really like being forgiving with myself. So I said, I set realistic goals and like, I'm going to exercise 5 days a week and I'm not going to exercise more than 30 minutes a day. Like,
yeah. And that was like the way you were going to do that. But I want you to, the goal you were going after though, like wasn't a measurement anymore. You wanted to feel a certain way.
Yes. Feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
Not only physically, but mentally.
Mm-hmm.
But that was part of it. Say, committing to those parameters was keeping me from going overboard and ending up working out 2 hours a day and
Exactly.
focusing on that too much. So, goal setting and journaling is really helpful for me. That helps me stay accountable to myself because I do lists and I love to check things off the list. So if I have my list for the day, I can check them off and say, okay, I did that. But in doing that, it not only helped me to be consistent and accountable, but it also helped me to be able to give myself grace when I didn't check everything off my list. It's like, okay, well, I did for 5 days and, I didn't for 2 days. It's fine. Moving on to the next best thing. So, it didn't.
So learning how to really, like, you're still using that grace, like you've figured out what grace looks like now.
Yes. And that whole statement about making the next best choice, just because I messed up doesn't mean I got to keep messing up for the next 3 weeks until I can pull myself out of that slump and get it together. So what? I had 2 pieces of pizza instead of 1 and a salad, and tomorrow I just start anew. And that's really key for everyone. I think just being. I'm sorry, my dog.
Oh, you're fine. I can still hear you perfectly. You're fine.
Oh, good. So the grace is a huge tool. I think it's the biggest tool. But also, I just keep it really simple. I don't have a lot of variety. And recently I've decided, okay, I'm going to not worry as much about when I leave the house.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was a big thing for me too, which totally took all of the enjoyment out of even going out
Yes.
anywhere with friends or anything. So, I think about it ahead of time and go, okay, this is what I'm going to do when I'm there. But if that doesn't work out, I'm not going to stress about it, because when I'm at home, I stay within these parameters. And
Mhm.
I pretty much eat the same thing for breakfast, same thing for lunch, and then dinners, whatever I make for everybody. And I skip bread and pasta and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that works for me. I choose my restriction, and it doesn't leave me feeling
Surprised.
unsatisfied.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like I get this all the time. People will tell me that they don't want to feel restricted. They don't, because it leads to these feelings of deprivation. And I like to remind
And
everybody.
I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like bad in that way, because I'm great at depriving.
Yeah, you were like the opposite.
I'm like a pro.
Yep. Yeah. But we restrict ourselves all day long and we don't feel deprived. It's all about how we choose to look at restriction.
Yeah.
And restriction isn't a bad thing, actually. It's actually a really good thing.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So, and then, just being consistent, and the exercise, I've really grown to love that.
Mm-hmm.
And I choose the kind I like to do. I like strength training way more than cardio. So one day is usually only cardio, and it's more strength training stuff. But I love how strong I am now. I love the things I can do that I couldn't do a year ago.
I love it.
And I actually, if I miss a day or have a headache or something, I kind of feel like, oh, I can't wait to do that again. Like, I hope I feel better tomorrow morning, so
Yep.
It's good.
I'm right there with you.
It's good.
It is. It's so good.
But
really, because you switched from like the workouts to be about weight loss. Now it's about how good I feel. And so then you pick the workouts that make you feel the best.
Yeah.
And then you enjoy the workouts more.
Yes.
And then we get that endorphin rush, and it really does. So it's so good for our mental health. So
yes.
good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
So, I've pretty much maintained my weight. I feel pretty good in my body most days.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really the best I could ask for. There's stuff about my body I'm never going to love, but it's stuff I can accept. And I've started looking at the world differently too, like, how come she looks so good? How come she looks so good? And it's really all about attitude. Like, you can tell people out there that love themselves and give themselves grace and feel comfortable in their own skin. And, they're not all thin people, the ones who emulate that confidence and that love for themselves. And I love that. And you can, and there are sticky, thin people that you are not emulating that confidence as well, and it's like, wow, such a boring world if we all were exactly the same size and exactly the same shape and all looked,
in this certain, magazine picturesque world.
Right. It's, it's such a hook that Satan has, especially on women, and really pondering that and like spending some time thinking about that. And then instead of thinking about it the way the world wants you to, and thinking about, I am not going to let him tear me down like that anymore. And fighting it on a spiritual level is like huge game changer.
Yeah, because it's less, I've been thinking about this a lot, and tell me if you resonate with this, because fighting it on a spiritual level just takes the pressure off of us. It kind of reminds us, hey, like, we're human, we're fully equipped, but we're also human.
Right.
And so we can do the best we can with what we've got right now.
Right.
And we don't have to be perfect, and it can still mean we're making progress and we're still fighting.
Right.
And
it's a lie. It's just,
yes,
it's a lie that we've been believing. And, this all is just in the interim. What we really should be focusing is on heavenly things. And so, he doesn't want us to think about that stuff.
no, that's Satan's biggest, like, he wants to drive that wedge between you and God.
Yeah.
And God's like, hey, I've got this all under control. I've got this amazing place you're going. Don't,
Yes.
this right now is temporary.
Yeah.
But Satan wants you to focus on how it's not.
Yeah. The more you believe it's temporary, the less you really, the less is taken away from you.
Yeah.
I guess how I feel about it. Like,
just the less pressure that
right.
there's some sort of right or perfect or something that needs to happen or has to happen. It just, there's not that pressure there. Yeah, I love that. Well, Hilary, I'm so proud of you. I'm so glad that everything's going so well. And like, there's going to be bumps in the road, but the beautiful thing about that is it's like, yeah, I know there's going to be bumps, but I'm equipped. Like, I can do this. Like, it's going to be okay.
Yes.
And so
That's
it was just it was just an honor to like walk with you on some of the bumpiest path.
Oh, thank you for being there.
And then it's so fun just to see on the other side. And I'm so thankful that you want to come on here and like talk about it and let other people kind of get a little glimpse into what that looks like.
Yeah. Anything to encourage someone else who is in that ditch of despair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's a way out, and it's really God. So just let him do his work. Let him do it through you, and it'll feel good. I promise.
It will feel good.
I promise.
Yeah. And if you're struggling at figuring out how to let God work through that, because I would say that's the majority of my messages that I get is like, I know how to, like, I know God is there and I know he can help me, but I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
I can help you figure that out. Like, that's.
Yeah. Let Amanda help you figure that out.
Yeah.
Because I knew all that too.
Yeah, you did too.
Surrender seems like an easy word to, understand the definition of, but honestly, it's one of the most difficult things that you can do, especially as a parent.
Yeah. When you see your kid doing something that you just know that would be better. Like, there is a better way to do it.
Yeah, you could ease their pain. It's so hard to just let go, but
yeah. And
practice.
So having somebody walk alongside you and help you point those things out it's just super beneficial.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, Hilary, I just want to wish you more of the best. And thank you so much for being here. And if anybody has any questions, you can comment them below this video. I can send them on to Hilary or I can answer them. And we'll talk soon.
All right. Thank you.